your way of telling me that I've been replaced.
No.
You could never be replaced. You are like the one, the only.
Okay, see, now you're hearing it from C4 too, and me. Okay, you're not going anywhere, Anna.
We love you.
I'm not.
You are not going anywhere.
No.
I thought last night's show was great.
Yes. There was no one who could replace you.
I'm giving you, we talked about it. I'm giving you some extra time off because the season's long and it's a drag, believe me.
And that's why I'm happy that we now have 4 of us on this too. So we're live here on Twitch. I just want to say hi to our Twitch audience and Firestone. But yeah, it's great that we have this networking of people. So if we were talking offline, but I thought I would bring it in. C4 is working on a different podcast. Anna and Gil obviously do the Power Play Point podcast. We all do this together. And it's just kind of cool that we all can do all these different shows and talk about the team that we love. And it's not gated in the way that it used to be. To have a conversation like this, you had to be on a radio station. You had to have, these whole entire specific, set of circumstances, right, to be able to do it. And it's just not that way anymore. And I'm just so happy that, we can give each other platforms to discuss this stuff. Plus, all the other people that are really great in the space that it's just been fun to see over the last 5 years.
Well, Robbie, we've got you to thank for banging down that door, beating it down and knocking it down for good. You were one of the first. So we've definitely got you and Carol to thank for that.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, no, and I really, I'm excited, for the future. When I started this, I thought it was gonna be like a 4 or 5 year thing, right? I didn't expect it to be we're now in season 8, and now I want to cover the last decade of Ovi's career or whatever it ends up being, right? So,
absolutely.
and it was just
crazy, awesome
thing to be able to have as a retrospective now, and how lucky we were to be able to document that time. Meanwhile, I can talk about the Commanders being shitty, so or the Wizards not quite playing so great. Although right now they are doing pretty well. They're up 80-62 with 5 minutes left in the third. But Tim and I were talking about the second they go live, you watch the scoreboard. I'm gonna actually keep it up this time. Let's see if it completely tanks while we're live, right? So we'll see. Well, be a jinx, not be a jinx. Live. I do have Tim live. I'm going to bring him in an hour too. Let me start our recording of this, and our we're going to start our Facebook live as well. Hold on. Where's my helpful with my computer?
Did we have Carol coming back at any point for hockey?
Carol hasn't said if he's showing up tonight or not. He says he may or may not. So we don't know. He's been watching hockey, but so far,
recording in progress.
No Carol for sure. But we'll see. Maybe he'll show up in the football segment. Maybe he'll show up in hockey. I don't know. He watches it. He talks about it a lot with me. So it's just he's been so.
No, that's great. I like
all day up
when
until
you're
9
talking about.
And I'm I don't know if he's going to want to come on a Zoom after being in meetings until 9 at night. But, I am happy that things are going so well for him. And he's doing great pre and post game. We don't really talk about it enough on this show. They do wonderful pre and post games for all of the episodes or all the different Commanders games. So if people want to see some of that, they should definitely go, check it out. For sure. Let me get this broadcast meeting set up so we can go live on Facebook, and then we can have a conversation about this hockey team. I'm excited. To people that are listening on Twitch, we actually are on a road win streak for the Capitals, and we'll talk about that tonight. And just they've been playing a lot better as of late, especially since some of our players got injured, which is kind of interesting. And so we'll have to discuss how this reworked lineup has actually seemed to work in their favor, at least temporarily. But it was an interesting week for sure. I'm wearing this Mantha Ray shirt for a very specific reason, which I'll talk about shortly. So yeah, I think we are ready. Let's just see.
Maybe.
I don't know. Let's see. All right.
There it goes.
Yep.
And welcome to episode 321 of Sports on the Hill podcast. I'm joined. Oh wait, did it not work? This is why I should wait until it actually, shows up as live, because gotta love Facebook. It sometimes makes you authenticate. Let's just see. Are we live or not live? I will just do a cut. Hold on.
Meeting properties say we're live.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, but I think. All right. Let's say that we're live. All right, I'm gonna do a cut right here. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to episode 321 of Sports on the Hill podcast. Caps road win streak, Commanders Misery Monday, and Wizards live game. We will be discussing all of this and more on tonight's episode of Sports on the Hill podcast. It's been a very up and down week. I'm happy to have our hockey team with us to discuss a lot of the up part of the week. The Commanders did unfortunately lose in a heartbreaking fashion, and so did the Ravens, and so did the Wizards. So it was kind of a rough sports day for me yesterday. And we'll break all that down for all the different angles. I am joined live off cam right now by Tim. He's live in the man cave, and so we'll be bringing him in an hour too. I haven't had a studio guest in the man cave since April, since it was a live Caps game. So Tim was on with us on the Caps segment actually, in April, which I was like shocked by. I was like, how could it have been so long since then? But it has been.
Welcome, Tim.
Yeah. So
yes, hi Tim.
Yes, so it's good to be here. Yeah, it's good to have you. He's watching this live Wizards game. If you're watching live on Twitch, you can see the scoreboard. We are up 88-67. We're curious. They played so well before our podcast starts. We'll see if we will be their jinx. So live, Twitch gets that advantage, but we are also live on Facebook, so we welcome in that. I will share it into a second. But Gil, I'm going to give you the floor first. You had an exciting episode of Power Play Point podcast with some special guests. Let people know who was on your show while I share this to a couple of groups, and then we'll get going.
Yeah, so we did a special episode this past week. We brought back our round table segment. None of us are Knights. We're all Capitals fans. There's 3 gentlemen that have been, 2 that have been longtime Caps fans. One that is a more recent Caps fan. But yeah, we brought them back. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. You're getting the stare down from BJ over your shoulder, and it is classic.
I know, it is hysterical. It's great.
I'm listening to you, but I'm like
my cat, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Legit is the best because it's like, bitch, please.
he gets like that.
I love it.
Especially when it's close to his dinner time. Yeah. Thanks for stealing the show, BJ. But yeah, so we had Casey Malone, who's the newer fan. He's actually out in Kentucky. And Willem Baggis, who actually started out as a Montreal Canadiens fan. And a guy I grew up with, Doug Lucerarian, and I kind of have him to thank for me having my own podcast, because it was kind of our discussions of the team on each other's front porches and in each other's cars that kind of led me to think, hey, this might be good to just talk it out. So yeah, we had a roundtable just to kind of evaluate the team over these past 13 games, basically what went wrong, what's gone right, and kind of where everything seems to be going, and just throwing ideas out here, which is what our show is all about. So open invitation. If you want to be a part of that, you want to get in on that, and you're a Caps fan who's doesn't matter obviously how long you've been a Caps fan, you got an opinion, you want to talk it out. Open invitation on our show all the time. So Ann and I would love to have you if you're listening to this, and you got an opinion on the team that you want to discuss with us.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And that's one of the things I love about your show, because it's got a longer form. Like, I can only really talk hockey for 40 minutes unless it's like a special, just because I'm trying to fit 3 sports into 2 hours, which is a ambitious goal. And especially because we're talking about a week in each one of those teams.
We try to keep it within an hour, but
right. But at least you have an hour, which is a big difference in 40 minutes, I find. Like, you can definitely go much more in depth on certain topics with that. With that being said, let's get into the first game. And I will just give it a little preface and then I'll let you go through the scoring. But I asked last week, I know you weren't on the episode, that we give a reason for me to wear the Mantha Ray shirt, right? So, something positive. I needed to see something good come from this guy. And he scores 2 goals.
Yeah.
And then gets immediately injured and put on IR. And I'm just like, holy shit. So, I mean, I said if he did something newsworthy, I would wear the merch. And so I feel like, 2 goals and the injury, I had to do it for him. But oh my God, talk about snake bit. He finally gets off the snide.
Yeah.
And then he gets injured immediately. I'm just like, holy shit. I mean, it's just bad luck. But anyway, go through this.
And that's actually 100% when I look at the Panthers game, I'm like, all I wrote down was Mantha, holy shit, 2 goals. And Connor McMichael, like, holy shit, yes, like so pumped. And then I'm like, oh my God, teeth lost, IR, what the hell? Oh my God. And it was just like a whole slew of emotions on this one. Cause it was like, how does that happen? Like, it's what did Mantha do to have some sort of karma come like that, where it's, everyone's down on him and everyone's kind of, kicking him to the curb, and then all of a sudden he's scoring 2, and then he gets, his teeth knocked out and he's out. And it's nobody expected it. 100%. I was like, holy shit, like, exactly, Robbie, like, I think that's the quote of the night.
It's disappointing. It's so frustrating. All right, quickly go through the whole scoring of it, and then I do want to get.
You
don't have it? Okay.
I feel so terrible that I don't, but
I have it up.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I've got it up. Yeah. So
I was all pumped on the other stuff.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So Mantha scores the first goal, assisted by Protas and Kemper. And I think actually the chemistry between, just to digress just a little bit, chemistry between Protas and McMichael and Mantha, that line seemed to gel fairly well. They seemed playing really, really well. And I think that brought out the best in Mantha. But anyway, moving on. Then Ekman Larson scores at 12:49, ties it up. He was assisted by Kachuk and Lundell. Then our friend Barkov scores at 16:45 to make it 2-1 Florida. In the second period, our boy Connor McMichael with an assist from Faravari and Protas. Backhands it into the goal, ties it up. That was a shorthanded goal for the record, and that was really a pretty goal. And then Mantha with an assist from McMichael at 15:51 makes it 3-2. Things are starting to get interesting because we now have the lead again. Then Rodriguez at 3:33 in the third ties it in with an assist from Ekman Larson and Forsling. And we go into overtime. And in 15 seconds into overtime, Reinhard scores on an assist from Rodriguez and Barkov. 4-3 Florida, game over.
So if you had to go to the bathroom, you missed it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I actually did miss it. I mean, actually wrong, but just so frustrating. I feel like when Mantha went out, it was like the turning point in the game, right? He was like driving energy, and I kind of feel like was projected, like could have got one more, maybe a hat trick, could have won it for. I mean, just the trajectory that it just went in, It
was so unexpected. I mean, legit, like, I did not see that coming. I didn't see the second goal coming. I knew one, I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And let's go 39 and this is it. And then he gets it. And then, wait, what just, and like, I don't even want to, like, whenever they show him like leaning over and they're like,
and blood dripping. Yeah,
I'm
this
like,
is not good. Yeah.
I don't need to see that. So, oh my God. But do we know how long he's out?
I don't think they said.
I haven't heard.
officially, I thought I heard a report that he's on IR. So
on IR, so they don't have to report the length.
When you get put on IR, you are out a minimum. You have to miss at a minimum, even if you get better, a minimum of 7 days.
But is it 7 games or 7 days?
7 days.
Oh, yeah. So that's fine. And that's why I think they do it that way. And they don't even have to really say what the injury is when you do that. They can just try some young guys, and it's like, well, we squeezed 2 goals out of you. Maybe that's
yeah, that's enough.
So, thanks.
And then I think Faravari also got injured in this game too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. What?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, that was the Devils. It was the Devils.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Sorry, Marcus can obviously hear me talking because he just hollered it was.
Yeah, he was hurt in the next game.
The next game, the Devils. That's right.
Right. Well, Gil, just your quick thoughts on this game, and then we'll move on to that one.
Well, I mean, it was if you brought a paddle and a little white ball, it would have been more appropriate. It was a nice ping pong match between these two teams. But in all seriousness, I thought they played pretty well, all things considered. You know, the injury and all that. It was nice, Mantha stepping up. They've been getting consistent results from their bottom 6, which is always good to see. I did not like the ending, obviously. Did not like, I don't even know why Kuzi was out there, but it was his blown assignment that led to that goal. So, you know, fine, leave him, let him, you know, do what he does in the shootout, but for God's sake, don't play him in the overtime, especially when he's coming off 6 days of being sick. So yeah, he had to have been gassed. So all things considered, not a bad game, but you know, I guess we'll take the Price is Right loser point.
Right. I mean, I'm just so happy that we were able to get 5 out of 6 points. I know it's sort of, you know, we'll discuss the other 2 games in a minute, but just we thought this was gonna be a tough week, you know, when we last left off, and so we were going to be excited with 1, maybe 2 wins out of the 3, and to get 5 out of 6 points is about as good as any of us could have hoped, in my mind, going into it at least. You know?
Absolutely. This team is doing far better than I expected them to be doing, even at this early in the season. So
a huge run. I mean, and specifically just these last couple of weeks, they've been able to turn it on. On the road, I think that is good, and getting a road identity is important because home wins will come later on. I feel like getting a road identity is really important for a team, especially early in the season. So I'm happy to see some of that. With that, shifting into the road, let's get into the next game. Anna, do you have any of the games, or am I going to let C4 do the game?
No, I do.
Okay.
It was more just like Panthers, Mantha, Michael.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, going for the Devils. Okay, here we go. So first period, Obe Kubel. Holy shit. There we go. First goal, 10-22. I'm glad to see him back. I know that there's not a huge fan base for him, but I actually like him. Assisted by Sandine and Milano. And then here you go, 15 seconds later with Malenstein, his first. I love seeing Malenstein on the roster. I think that yes, and yes, right, Cheryl? Like yes, keep it going, 100%. Second period, you get Kuzi's goal at 6:34, and third period, the Devils score twice, and then here comes number 92 at 18:09. So this is a fantastic win. It was needed, 100%. And I think what I like about it, and I know this may sound snarky or you know, maybe booed upon, but this was the momentum kickoff that I think the team needed. Didn't need an Ovechkin goal. They were able to do it with other players and show that they can get, you know, the Obe Kubels and the Malensteins and get Kuzi back in the conversation.
Kuzi is capable of getting his head out of his butt and
100%. And you know what? When he does, yay, we're all huge fans. Right. And when he sucks,
well, that goal
every game.
That first goal he had, and I mentioned this in the podcast the other night. The podcast the other night is that goal where they just kept skating past the blue line. And Wilson saw the shot, saw Kuzi had the shot, beautiful pass over, tipped it, snapped it right in. We need more of those kinds of goals.
Yeah.
I mean, we need
Don't
them
need
to
the
keep
fancy
skating.
shit.
No, we need that. McMichael, when you see him going in, he keeps skating into the goal, and God help, and we, hope it either goes in or somebody's there to get the rebound.
Right.
But we need that to happen more.
I agree. He's happy that on that play with Kuzi scoring that goal, Ovechkin gets his 7th assist of the season, and it shouldn't be overlooked.
Yes.
There's been a lot of, Ovechkin's not the same guy. He isn't. He's not going to be putting up 50 goals. And I'm sorry for anyone that was like, oh, he'll get this in a year and a half.
Right.
It's just, but if he still gets 20 or 30, that'd be great at his age, be one of the best at that age ever, so.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that he can still distract people, pull people to him, make the right play, and other people can, contribute off of him as well. And I think he's starting to get smart with it. I mean, those are not the necessarily plays that he was making earlier in his career. He was the guy shooting the goal. But hopefully we can put enough firepower around him that he can help, some of that too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, his goals will come.
And that's what I mean. Like, it was nice to oh my God, like, who isn't an Ovechkin fan? But it's nice to see other players, and if he's assisting on goals, that's just fucking fantastic. But it's
he's not a one-trick pony.
Right.
He's capable of doing
made
more.
Him out to be that. It's just so interesting. That's the narrative. It's always been like he can only be at the dot, and scoring goals from power play or at netters, right? That's like the only 2 goals that he has in people's book, and he is now the best at both of those, right? Power play and goals. But he has many others as well. It's still a small percentage out of the total, number of goals that he has. People forget that,
And he's also totally supportive of all of his teammates, which you cannot take that away from him ever, is that he is, to me, a captain, through and through. Like, he's going to be there and support you. If it's your first goal, your 100th goal, whatever it is. And if he's assists, he's just as happy. And that's exactly, I mean, that's what you want in a captain, and that's what you want in, someone representing your team.
All right,
exactly.
I'm gonna have you quickly go through this scoring, because I realize that the 4 of us will talk hockey for 2 hours if I let us.
100%.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
This will be quick. Islanders. Is that what we're going to talk about?
No. Sorry, to continue the scoring. We got to
sorry.
Second. Yeah, and then I stopped you. So it's my fault. But anyway. So he scored, and then unfortunately the Devils scored 2, but we got an empty netter with Kuzi again. Wilson got his 5th assist, which I also don't want to overlook. Tom Wilson, it's important that he gets points in a different way. So I want to get Gil's thoughts on this game real quick.
I will do the mea culpa here. I was the one, yes, on last week's episode here, I said this was an automatic L. I have never been happier to be wrong. The Caps played lights out, shutdown hockey I was more impressed with their defense than anything else, even more than the scoring. For 40 minutes, 45, 50 minutes, they played very well in their own end, and then it kind of dropped off a cliff. But then again, they're playing probably against one of even with 2 of their best forwards out, they're playing probably the best offensive teams in the league now. So kind of not surprised, but they didn't keep up the attack, which is one reason why they were kind of allowed to come back in the game. But other than that, great game, great effort on both ends of the ice. And I think that's part of the overall coaching strategy, and you're starting to see them kind of put it all together now, which is great.
I agree. C4, quick thoughts on this game, and then we'll get into the Islanders one.
It was a fun game to watch. I think part of the reason, reflecting on it from the conversation we had the other night and listening to your podcast, and then reflecting on it a little more today, that third period, that was, when after Marty got hurt, we were down to what, four defensemen, that night. So that made it a little harder too to keep up. And New Jersey is one of those teams that's just not going to go away. They are going to play till the end. So I think our boys held it out. We played tough, we played strong, and keep it going. Just keep it going. We need more of that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And the Islander game.
All right. Short and sweet. I'm gonna keep it because I know in time we're like, Islanders, here we go. First period at 9:18. Speaking of the captain, fantastic. Love to see it. And what a way to get the momentum going for the game.
Goal, right? He showed that he still has it, and you can't
100%.
And like it was great to see that again. And I know that goes against my narrative. I was just trying to say that that's not his like the only thing he can do, but it's still important.
But when he does it, yes.
Yes.
And that's just it. It's like when he does it, how do you not just be like, fuck yeah, like that's amazing. And that's exactly what we want. Islanders do tie it up. And then going into the second period, holy shit, welcome back, Dowd.
Yay.
Who saw, like, I was hoping for something from him, but I did not expect it, but I couldn't be happier.
The baseball swing.
Yeah, no doubt, right? At 13:05. And then
pinged around. It was a good initial save on that,
Yeah. So, that was.
Yeah.
And I know Gil and I have talked about Protus. I have a soft spot for him. I think he's going to come out of his shell at some point and just dominate because of his size, and he's got the skill. And then here we go. He gets his first at 19:20. So I was thrilled. I absolutely love this. And then third period, here we go. Ovi, 1957, a 4-1 win. And what do we say about Hunter Shepard?
Yeah, he's been great.
He's amazing.
And you know what's so silly? It's like I have seen people reaming him online for his interview skills. Really, I don't care.
Yeah, people look. I haven't even heard that one.
Care. Like to me,
I saw. Yeah, I've seen it too. His poor kid.
I mean, but no, it's not great, but you know what? 36 out of 37. Like, come on, he's fantastic.
Get him more playing time. I just don't like. We're almost have a problem, Gil. Real quickly, what do you do? I mean, he's outplaying the guy we're paying $5 million for.
Yeah,
it's a nice problem to have, and it's we're right back where we started, I guess. But in a good way this time. Now, who do you start? And the guy you're paying the most, his backup who's also playing, or the guy from Hershey who's also hungry for a job. So pick your poison, or not in this case. So that's going to be very interesting how they figure that out. But and that's one thing that we discussed on our episode that's kind of a sore spot is the criticism of the goalies. And I just want to say this much. If you're focusing on that and nothing else, you're not paying attention to the right thing.
Right.
You're not watching the game properly. Okay.
100%.
If you are laser focused on how the goalies do, that is not the end all be all of how professional ice hockey plays out. Okay. And we talk about this during our episode, but the games are won and lost in other areas of the rink, not just the goalie.
It's all about pressure, right? Like
just want to put that out there.
In pressure, zone.
100%.
There's all these things that play into what we call momentum in a game, right?
Yes,
exactly.
And those are the things. If it's not in our zone, right, it's unlikely that the goalie is going to let one in, right? So I mean, there's these whole things that you have to look at in the whole picture, and so I appreciate that. I do. I want to get each one of your thoughts on this game specifically, though. So I'm gonna start with you, C4. What are your thoughts on Ovechkin finally getting on the board, and then they get back-to-back road victories like this?
Wow. No, it's really great to see Ovi get on the board. I was getting a little concerned. He had a much better, much more complete game against the Islanders. He's been improving. Again, we talked about it the other night. Timing is a factor. I think you're seeing he's playing with a different system. He doesn't have, it's not duo anymore. It's Strom or it's Kuzi or it's somebody else feeding him. So they're working out the timing, and you can see it, like Gil said the other night, you can see it coming into play. You can see it adjusting on all sides. So the goals are going to come. And I think as the timing and as the system takes hold, and as the guys really start buying into it and playing, and I see them starting to break a lot of these habits. I've seen them now the last couple of games. They're starting to keep skating once they cross that blue line. They're not stopping as much. They're, playing through all the way through to the end of the, to the goalie, if you will. So I'm excited about what's coming up. I think we're going to be okay this year. I'm not going to make a bold prediction and say we're going into the playoffs. I will say we might sneak in by the skin of our teeth, but I'm not holding my breath on that. But we are going to be okay, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Everything we were basing it on was previous coaching. We have a new young coach,
Right.
new philosophy. They could gel, new team, especially with some of these young guys out. The thing is that we have a very high ceiling. We've always had a pretty good farm system. I mean, they just won, their cup. Like, you have the tools, and now the coach that will play the young guys, and it could start to build. I know that everyone expected us to have a horrible season, right?
And he knows how to use the young guys. He's coached some of those guys, and Scott Allen coached some of those guys. So that duo, and I think they were coaching together in Hershey. I know Carberry was the head coach. Scott may have been one of the assistants, I think, back then. But they know these guys. They know each other. They know how they
know the system. They know the players. They know how to plug and play them.
Yeah,
that's the important thing. Even
and they know how to do it without
messing up
the ego, if you will, of the veterans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? While still stroking the egos of the veterans, if you will.
Yeah, because
so they know.
Honest, we've been doing all of this, and TJ Oshie, who I love, has been virtually silent. And honestly, Backstrom was too before the injury, and so these are the people that we were expecting to be the point producers, and everyone else kind of fill in around them. But it's really these other players are kind of coming together to try to help carry some of these vets, which is what you need in a team. It reminds me actually a lot of the Nationals in their run, right? Where you tried to have this resurgence, but this old core group. Gil, your quick thoughts on this before we talk about the upcoming games.
Yeah, real quick. I mentioned this briefly on the Sucrum's Capitals Off the Chain podcast, starring Marcus Lemley and Cheryl Ann Forster. Nice little plug there. If you notice the progression of, we were talking about Ovechkin, okay? One, yes, he's not the end-all be-all anymore, nor should he be now that we've got younger players coming up. But if you notice the progression, the passes he was receiving, first 2, 3, 4 games, they were in his skates. Next few games after that, the passes he was getting just off his stick. Now you're seeing that it's a lot closer to tape, and he's more ready. So I think he is now starting to get his timing back, and the other players are acclimating better to him.
Right.
As far as the timing as well. So I think he's on the verge of getting up there, maybe not as explosive as previous years, but don't be surprised in the next month or so that his goal total starts to climb. This game as a whole was also a carbon copy of the Devils game, sort of. But they were, Islanders not as talented, obviously, offensively, but they did do that drop off in the last 5-10 minutes of the third period. So they really need to figure out how to close out their games. I think they were a little too dependent on Hunter Shepard. He had to make 35, 36 saves in this game. So you never want to have to be too dependent on your goalie to do that. This game could have gone to overtime, really, if the Islanders had somebody that can consistently put the puck in the net, but it didn't. And, I like the way they played, but again, they really need to figure out how to close the games.
Right, it's crazy that in both of these wins that Hunter Shepard has had, these big ones, just faced a ton of shots, and so it's not like he did it with a 15 shot. You see some of that with quote unquote rookie goaltenders. It's just so hard to call him a rookie, I guess. I don't know. It just both of his age and his experience level, and helping them win their Calder Cup. But let's move on. There's so much I want to say about that game too, but like for time, it's already 9:42. So Vegas is coming up on Tuesday, and then the Columbus game on Saturday. I just want to give a plug for our big meet and greet at the Columbus game. So if people come out, if you check out Instagram, we have all the information about the section. You can also message me on Facebook, Robbie Gross on Facebook, and I can let you know the section we're sitting. There's a bunch of seats still in our row if people want to sit with us, which is really cool. And so we've got a bunch of people. Tim, who's here, is coming with his brother. We got Arun, who will be on the show later, is coming. We got C4 is sitting in the row behind us. We got Gil, his wife. My wife, I think, is now coming. Leslie is a big fan of the show, is coming as well. So lots of fun people. I'm excited that so many that are on this show get to go out there and all get to be at the same game
play Wednesday
together.
We play tomorrow, then we don't play again until Saturday. And we don't play again until Wednesday after that. That makes no sense. These guys are old, man. They need to be back in their retirement homes by 10 o'clock.
Been saying all year, schedule makers are screwing us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, we don't play again Tuesday and then a Saturday again. I don't disagree with the assessment there. Like,
that was, for those of you who don't know, that was Marcus expressing his opinion of the schedule.
yes. So let people know, C4, what is the name of your podcast? So that way people can, listen to it.
It is Sacroom's Capitals Off Their Chains podcast.
Okay. So,
And it's on Spotify.
all right. And I'll have her try to
And
information, and we'll add it to the show notes before we go.
yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then I can share it in this week's show notes when the audio podcasts come up and update all of our stuff. Remember, people, if people don't know and they're listening after the fact, I hope people are liking these videos on YouTube. We do separate it out by topic. And so you'll have, this is a hockey one, we'll have a football one, and we will have our basketball roundtable later. And in doing so, we have show notes that has all the information about that. So if you just care about those videos, also they're all on sportsothp.com. Any podcast we've ever done has all the videos on YouTube plus all the audio for anyone that's missing it. So if anyone misses any of these links, they can always go to any of those places, and it's got all of them. And one of these days I will have to make you a page on our website as well, C4, and we can have all of your links on there as well. So but yeah, it's great that there's all these different audio podcasts out there. I do want to quickly say that this Vegas game is a big rivalry. This Columbus game, it's going to be a rematch of that 2-1 game on Saturday, November 4th. Just 2 weeks ago. We are taking a Columbus Blue Jackets fan with us. He's a friend of mine. So that'll be fun to have him.
Right. And that game is also the Hockey Fights Cancer game.
Oh, yes,
which is
and
why
you're wearing that. Yeah.
I am wearing it. And I
fantastic.
actually have, I don't know if you guys can see.
Oh, yes.
Love it.
Mine. And then that's my husband's age.
Oh, yeah.
I
So-
love that.
Nice.
That's
Yeah. So my name and
yeah, for sure. So yeah, well, anyway, send us information on Facebook. You can also find us on the Power Play Point podcast Facebook. We'll have lots of information about it. We'll go live from the game, I'm sure, or record videos and pictures and post stuff there. But if you're at the game, send us a message. We'll try to meet up outside of our section. I want to get to see as many Caps fans. I know some are coming from out of the country to this game.
they are in the States. I did actually talk to them today. They are in the States.
All right.
We hope that Grant is able to get up into our section, and we can all hang out.
So my group, me and my son and Marcus, we will be at the Irish Channel probably somewhere between 4 and 5 o'clock, because we usually go there for a drink and food before the game. So if anyone wants to meet there, it's at the corner of, is it H and 6? It's sort of in the same building as the Fairfield by Marriott in Chinatown. I think it's H and 6.
For an update, by the way, our premonition of the Wizards completely collapsing and falling apart is coming true. It's 107 to 103 with 2 minutes left. So that entire lead, we watched.
No,
it'll be fun to watch that podcast back and just watch it.
They call themselves the Wizards. I don't think Harry Potter could save that team.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
It's true. They're in Toronto right now. They're only up 4. Luckily, Toronto just turned the ball over with under 2 minutes left in this game, and it gives
But still.
just such a sad collapse in state of affairs with but we'll talk about that more, but I just had to at least mention it in the moment as it's the collapse is happening. It's 12-8 in this Monday Night Football game between the Broncos are actually up over the
Wow.
Bills, and
Yeah, Marcus is
12
watching it in the
8.
other room, so I'm hearing it.
Okay.
yeah,
That's
so
always random score.
yeah, such a random score, and so they go in, lay it up and in, now make it a 2-point game with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Oh, they're not taking a timeout. Interesting.
They just kicked a field goal, so it's now 15-8 Broncos.
Oh yeah, I see that now. But yeah, right at halftime there. All right, I'm gonna keep it here. I know we're doing hockey talk, but it is a live Wizards watch along, so I'm gonna keep you here for a second. I don't see Hurt hasn't called in yet, so we have a couple of moments. It's a foul on Toronto. So Washington, are they in the bonus?
I think so.
Okay, so they might shoot 2 here. They're only up
Or no,
2.
that was the fourth.
That was
foul.
the 4th, yeah.
then-
So Denny did a spin move.
Yeah.
There was a foul on the arm, and they called it. And I love how he's like, what? I think he's looking sideways at the ref, like that was a
That's
bad call.
obvious.
That was the most obvious slap. Yeah, exactly.
Blind ref.
Yeah, exactly.
More
Called that
blind
one.
than
All right, 8 seconds left on the shot clock. It was a side out in, and so we are in. We're driving towards it. We're laying it out, and just a turnover. Toronto has the ball. They're running down, up and in, and they tie the game at 107 with 51.6 seconds left. So the collapse is
Oh
complete.
gosh.
So they are no longer losing.
No
Anyway,
longer winning.
we're no longer winning. They're no longer
Right.
losing. It's just a fucking frustrating mess. But I it was expected. Gonna be a big week. Between I really think of Vegas as a rival of ours. I know it's kind of crazy, but just because
100%.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
the cup,
totally.
and then I kind of think of them also as like Pittsburgh West. I don't know,
Yeah.
the similar
Yes.
colors. I just have a similar feeling about them. Like,
Marcia Salt.
yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Flurry
There it is.
before. Yeah,
Yep,
so
there it is.
it's just
God, they're cocky.
yeah, for sure. And now they actually have their cup, right? So which is I think is interesting.
Annoying.
I actually expect them to get back there so soon, and they got to a lot of conference finals too. So they've had sustained quality play, much more than I thought. I thought maybe it was gonna be a meteoric rise and then a fall off, right? Because I just didn't think it was sustainable, but it hasn't been that way. Gil, your quick thoughts on Vegas?
The Jack Eichel trade turned them around in a hurry. They were on a seemingly one-way ticket to the toilet. At one point they had too many contracts and just and didn't know too many players, too much salary, didn't know what to do, and then they made the trade for Jack Eichel, and that turned their fortunes around in a hurry. Not to give him too much credit, but and they've got a lot of toughness to them. So that game is going to be a real good test for the Caps, who have played some very good teams, but nobody like Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas likes to hit you a lot. And they have some guys that can crash the net hard. So it's going to be very interesting to see how, some of these younger guys put up with that kind of pounding and see how they respond. So look for that if you're watching the game.
Yeah, well, that's where we need Protus to use his body. We need, Wilson to do his thing, Ovi to hit a little more, the defense needs to, be a little tighter, needs to, bring, that back check in. So we're going to need to, we don't want to play their game. We want to play our game, but we're going to need to be, in order to, if we're not going to get worn down, we need to hit harder than they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but like Gil said, it's going to be interesting.
7 seconds left. If people are watching my face, just I just so I shouldn't do watch alongs of Wizards games with capital segments, but it's just like they just give me a headache. It was easier when at least last week they were already like blown out by this point. it's just they had it too. It's just like they had the ball, missed it. The other team goes down the court, scores. With 7.6, it'll be a side out. So I mean, there's still a chance to tie or even win. But I'm clearly super optimistic at this point.
So the last like 15 seconds of a basketball game are like
forever.
the longest 10 minutes ever, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Hurt hasn't back to us, so he might not be able to make the show. Something may have come up, so that's fine. So we still have a little bit, longer at least until he shows up. I do want to get C4's thoughts on Vegas real quick.
I'd like to think we have a chance in this game, but like I said, a lot's going to depend on how physical we play with them, how much they wear us down with their physicality, because they are a lot more physical team than they were in the past. And it's a different team than we played in 2018. And we're a different team than played in 2018. So it's, I'm just going to say, I hope it's not a blowout. And I'm just going to leave it there. I have zero. I mean, not that I don't have faith in our boys, but I don't know. It's just going to depend on who shows up.
Yeah, you're 100% on it. Like, I think Gil mentioning Eichel, I didn't think any of us would be sitting here being like talking about that, him being, like one of their top players, but like he's got skills, Carlson as well. This team is not one to mess with. And I do think our biggest thing is going to be their goalie, but also how much we are able to look at the game physical versus playing smart hockey. Yes, you want to be physical. They know that our players can be physical, but we also don't want to be in the penalty box. So it's like finding that fine balance where like they're going to go after Wilson, they're going to go after TJ, they're going to hit those buttons. But how can our players react in the best way possible, power play wise or whatever it is. But that's going to be a huge lesson, like, how much, and I think that's going to be huge for someone, especially like Tom Wilson, where you think of who he was in 2018 playing against the Knights versus who he is now, and setting a role model stance, for the younger players to say like, yes, you can be, there's a time and a place, and pick it. And I think that Vegas is just kind of like, anytime, let's go. But they also have a 7-2-1 record, so they're not a team to mess with. And I think that their goalie matchup for us is going to be huge. And to be honest, I'm really hoping Lindgren is in, because I feel that he is calmer between the pipes when it comes to these kind of things. And then I honestly, my number 2 would be Hunter Shepherd, but I am not anti-Kemper. But I just think with Lindgren, I think I'd like to see him there. I think I think Vegas is physical, so is Lindgren. And so I think I'd like to see that matchup more so than Darcy, who hasn't quite been as consistent, but I still like him.
I still like Kemper, but I think he's I don't know if he's just starting to show his age at 32, almost 33.
Right.
Because he just doesn't seem
he's distracted.
To be, and
new dad distracted, maybe.
well, that's something that was touched on, I think, yesterday in the roundtable. So I think he's there's some distraction going on there, I think.
And I think like we saw that even outside of other goalies, other players, like once they kind of settled got married and, whatever. And it's like, and I hate, and I will say Mantha is one of those, like within the last year. All right, you get married and you're settled and you're in a good mindset. And we needed to see this progression going. And then all of a sudden it was like, holy shit, like your teeth get knocked out. Tommy gets married and now he's like wearing the A, like there's something to be said about outside situations to make things, to put a positive, spin upstairs.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap up this segment and just say that I'm really excited about this, game to get to go see, CC4 again. Because it's one thing to be able to meet for a moment, obviously.
Yeah.
It's another thing to sit a row away and be able to hopefully high five you for a goal.
I
And,
hope so.
Absolutely.
So, or commiserate if there isn't one, but but let's hope on the positive. We played a good game against them the last time. Obviously, no team should be overlooked. Gil, any final thoughts on the game that we're all going to go to see together?
I know we're all going to have a great time, but I'm hoping for a win. It's Columbus, and it may end up being one of those needlessly exciting games where it's real close until the very end. I just hope it doesn't, turn out to be another overtime disappointment. But
right.
Yeah, I think I think we're all in for a good time regardless.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I think so.
Yeah, because none of us have ever actually gotten to watch a game together.
No.
So that'll be great. And Tim and I haven't watched a game together, or me and Leslie, since the pandemic. So it'd be fun to get to catch a game with them again. And and I've never gotten to see one with Arun either. So it'd be cool to. We've gone to so many Wizards games and other sports together, but it would be cool to go to a hockey game as well. So I appreciate all of you guys. Definitely go check out. Say the name of the podcast one more time, C4.
Sakroom's Capitals Off Their Chains Powercast. How podcast. I can't even say it. Sakroom, and it's spelled S.
It's
Marcus
backwards.
Marcus spelled backwards.
Oh,
Capitals
okay.
Off Their Chains.
My original screen name was my name spelled backwards too, and it caused so many problems that I changed it. So
oh my gosh, mine too. Just kidding.
Ebor Sturg.
Yeah, Ebor Sturg. It's still like my username on Twitter, I guess. So, yeah.
No one got my joke.
I didn't hear your joke.
I
said mine too. Mine was my name backwards too. But it's okay. Anyways.
Fair enough. Well, I guess
I had to have one Gil joke. Like,
there you go. It is.
Close it out.
There we go.
And like I feel like I'm done. Mic drop. I should exit.
I didn't really think it through, but I guess you may have had a username that did that. That's interesting. Like, what are the odds? And then, I didn't get it. So there you go. But yes, and then Anna and Gil, obviously on the Power Play Point podcast, if you go to sportsothp.com, click the podcast partners link. You can catch their latest one. I know that Gil had a roundtable, and that was great with some friends of the show on here as well. So I'm so happy all four of us could get together. I'm sorry that Hurt couldn't call in. Something came up. He did. We just were chatting. But I'm happy that we got to have an extra long hockey podcast. We talked about how you can talk a lot more hockey in an hour. We can prove
that's true.
So we'll definitely have a lot to recap next week, and I look forward to that discussion. And we're only 2 games, so maybe we can actually fit it in 40 minutes.
There we go.
But I'll let each one of you give your final thoughts. I'll start off with UC4.
I'm just looking forward to the next couple of games. Looking forward to seeing you guys in person. Anna, sorry, wish you could make it, but
I know.
we'll try and get another one together later in the season.
100%.
And I'm just excited. Like Vegas, I'm a little nervous about. It's just going to kind of depend who shows up. I think we can beat them. They can be beaten. But I'm just not sure I see it happening. Columbus is one of those games that can go either way. I mean, they have our number, it seems, sometimes, and we just need to play our game.
Close. There was years where every game went go to overtime, and then even in the playoffs in that huge cup run, right? It was we were down in a hole and very close to being down 3-0 in that series, and fortuitous bounces in overtime, and we escaped, right? But they always play us tough for sure.
They do, but it's going to be fun, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I look forward to it as well. Thank you so much, T4. Anna, you're
thank you.
Let you go.
No, I hope I'm sorry I'm not going to be there Saturday, but hopefully in the new year we can figure something out. Like I said, that March 3rd date somehow just seemed perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, oh my gosh, like I want to say, yeah, go Caps against the Knights. Let's get that, that rival, that hatred, that adrenaline going against these guys, because we can. It's just, they got to start fast and they got to play 60 minutes. And this is a game where they cannot, even no
think about
penalties.
No
stupid penalties. My God. And then I hope for you guys it's a win. I really do. And I hope it's just a fantastic day for all of you. And yeah, that's all I want.
Yes. Well, hopefully we can all get together to discuss it next week. I haven't talked about your guys' schedules yet, but it'll be fun to have pictures and videos, and I'll try to queue up some cool stuff for next week's podcast that we can show from it as well. Gil, final thoughts before we let you go.
Well, I just realized that so this week it's only the 2 games, but we're facing Vegas on Tuesday, and if Columbus starts their number 1 goalie, so we'll have Vegas and Elvis in the same week.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Might be
He's
a
not
partial
wrong.
reason why I'm not going Saturday.
I respect that one, Gil. I respect
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Only Gil would think that way. So that's why you guys will have a blast on Saturday.
Oh yeah. Well, Gil's been to a hockey game with me before, so he knows.
Yeah. That's cool. That's awesome. So, all right. Well, I'll let you guys go. And I'm going to switch over our graphics and bring over our next team. But I appreciate you guys as always. And yeah, everyone go check out all the different podcasts. And we'll definitely be doing some live video and pictures and postings from the game on Saturday. And once again, contact me, Robbie Gross, on Facebook, and maybe we can meet up. And I will definitely be setting up awesome get together. We're going to try to get a big picture together and all that. So
very cool.
Yeah, and I sent you that link in your messenger. So
awesome.
All
Have
right.
a great rest of the show, and I'll talk to you all soon.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for having us, Robbie. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah. Good night, all.
All right. Have a good one. I'm going to put that Spotify link into at least the Twitch chat. So if anybody wants to click on that. So my dad did just mention, well, hi, Tina. Welcome on in. My dad also said that UPenn beat Villanova in basketball at the Palestra. Villanova is number 21 in the country. They beat them 76-72. So it's a big 5 games. So that was great. And so thank you for everyone for tuning in and being a part of the conversation, whether it be on Facebook or on Twitch. So we are going to switch gears. I love Champ is now in space, which is awesome. So I appreciate that as well. And we're also going to bring in Dujunnea as well. Let me actually, I said I was going to change the graphics and I didn't actually do it. And then we're going to bring in our NFL graphics. And